latest in college esports from the students that play.
Go behind the scenes at the schools that game.
The only place where esports are
on campus.
Welcome to CheckpointXP on campus, your number one resource for collegiate esports. I am your host, Norris Howard. We're going to throw it right to the UNLV studios with our wonderful hosts out there in Vegas, Daniel Agbuya, Jacob Brothers. What's going on, my guys?
How's it going, you beautiful people?
The Sonic the Hedgehog movie is coming out.
I know Jacob is very excited about Sonic. We'll get his opinion on that at a later date and time. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about one of the biggest events that have happened in the world of esports in general, and that's the startup of the Call of Duty League and the Overwatch League. Now, I know you're wondering, hey, this is supposed to be a college show. Why are you guys talking about these leagues? But we want to talk about this from the lens of the college experience. We know that colleges across the country have been investing in esports. They've been creating spaces. And I wanted to get the opinion of the guys. So we're going to have a quick discussion about where is college in terms of getting that live experience. We see that the live experience is very important right now. So guys, you watched a little bit of the CDL and the OWL over the weekend. First of all, what was your impression of both of those events in terms of the homestands? And then we'll talk a little bit about the college experience. So how did you guys feel about the games played over the weekend?
So I'm talking on CDL first. I really love how each homestand is having its own personal style to it, depending on the city. I really think it brings a lot to like the presentation of the event. Go ahead.
Yeah, Norris, I'll need you to tell me about the Overwatch League, because I was watching the Call of Duty League the entire time.
Same.
Because it was awesome and more interesting, I thought. But yeah, each homestand being different is really cool, because like the crowd audiences are different every time. Mm-hmm. While in the Overwatch League, in the previous season, there's just the LA crowd the entire time. But for the Call of Duty League, the Minnesota crowd was different than the London crowd, and the games played were also awesome. God bless the London team.
I have to say, I love all these different homesteads. It allows teams to have different roles. You know, you have one team, the home team playing, the big babyface role, and all the visiting teams can have like this really healed up, talk some trash.
Different storylines.
It's a great watch.
What did you think about the Overwatch League, Norris? I saw you tweeting about it.
I actually thought, the production has some snafus with the Overwatch League. They had some issues with graphics and their transitions were not great. Yeah, crunch time, baby. It's mind crunch. But the thing is that the second day things were much better. I also watched a little bit of CDL. I think London is a bit of a island. I think London and Europe in general has this massive sort of spectator culture, right? Like they sing songs, they chant. It's a lot of that soccer style stuff. American crowds just don't do that very often. And so that's why I think Minnesota felt kind of dead in comparison. However, when you looked at the OWL crowds, they were chanting players' names. The New York crowd booed Boston vigorously. It was a very, very, very awesome atmosphere. And from everybody that I talked to that actually attended the homestands said that if this is an indicator of what the OWL is going to look like in the future, that this was absolutely a slam dunk win for the live experience. So I really do think that live esports is the way to go. I think CDL would be we'll get a better feel of CDL when it comes back to the States. And we see sort of what a additional American crowd really behaves like. But with that said, we're gonna talk about college right quick, because college is the next frontier, and you guys are attending college, you're students, you've been to live events. So seeing what you saw at CDL and seeing what you saw at Overwatch League, what do colleges you think need to do in order to sort of get that kind of atmosphere, the same you would see at maybe a college football or basketball game?
Colleges are kind of already there. I feel like, because schools are starting to see it as like a way to involve all different parts of the school.
True.
So it's like this involves the video production team. This involves some people who can do casting. These are people who play the games. And so we saw it like with Mountain West Conference when Boise State had their event and they hosted people and they had casters and they showed the players. Like that stuff I think is already there and happening.
And we're also definitely on the right track because we know all these schools are getting these bigger. They're starting investing in arenas. We talked about OSU. We talked about what we're getting here in Vegas. But I think for me, firstly, also in terms of viewership, what it will take is we need to start having the big colleges have these events like this. So we need to have schools like OSU, UCLA, Notre Dame, like the big, like the schools that you see on.
You need the big storylines.
You need the big storylines in the big schools. That's how you get the viewership because as amazing as teams like Harrisburg and Maryville are, it's really unknown if they'll be able to like draw a huge crowd.
Well, and it shifted to the students running it because like when I went to Heroes of the Dorm final in like 2017, that was all Blizzard ran. It was Blizzard casters, Blizzard this, Blizzard that, and now it's more the students are running it. And so it kind of has that more raw feel, which I like, because then you kind of know you're watching college esports, and you're like, oh, these people are learning how to do this for the professional world. And I think that's kind of a fun part of it as well.
I think that shift does need to happen at least in some way or form. The students still need to have like the big control, but it wouldn't hurt to have some guidance.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah, I completely agree with Daniel. For as much as I love the college experience, I think if we're going to draw big, huge numbers in terms of the college scene, the polish has to be put on it. I think schools like Boise State are a perfect indicator of a small school that can do it right, but just needs to maybe play some bigger schools to get more eyeballs on their program. But we're going to shift gears a little bit, and Jacob has some news coming out that is really, really interesting about a new tournament organizer in the collegiate esports space. So, Jacob, what's going on with that?
Yeah, what small company is doing this?
Oh, yeah, it's a small indie startup named Amazon.
Oh, really? What do they do?
They just kind of control the world a little bit.
Oh.
So it's a new thing called Amazon University Esports. And it's launching with GG Tech and the NUEL. I don't know if that's pronounced Newell. But they partnered with these two companies, and it's going to be... So yeah, Amazon University Esports debuting this year with about 200 schools involved. It's going to mostly be Spain and the UK for now. They didn't talk about North America, but
they didn't rule it out.
Right. I'd be very confident that's going to be coming in the next year. But... they're going to be based out of GG Tech's headquarters, which is in Spain. So I know GG Tech is looking over the Spanish parts of like the schools involved. For the UK, they don't say, but I'm assuming Newell will be doing the UK. They don't say that, but it's kind of assumed. And so yeah, it's focusing on Europe this year, but with 200 schools to start, and then potentially coming over to North America, the potential for this could snowball very quickly with Amazon being behind that.
So, kind of, you bring down the basics. So these guys, Amazon's going to be providing equipment, organizing games. Is there anything else that they'll be doing for these schools?
The article itself wasn't too extensive besides just announcing that Amazon's behind this project. But it does look like it's going to be like organizing competitions between schools for like League of Legends. Teamfight Tactics was another one they talked about, which is kind of interesting. But organizing between the Spanish schools and the UK schools.
So you think this will help, like, not only increase viewership, but like polish the presentation?
It'll probably polish the presentation and kind of raise awareness in those areas for those esports. Because I know like EU isn't as popular as NA. So having Amazon start that push for the collegiate level will probably raise its way to the top.
So if Amazon were to kind of like put the focus on North America, what schools do you think would benefit most from this kind of like backup?
Probably the ones that just aren't in the spotlight as much. Some of the schools in the West, some of the smaller schools in the East probably. Some of these schools that are known but haven't already had their claim to fame, like Maryville or Harrisburg.
I want to kind of like shift the question here. We kind of just talked about how we need bigger schools to get more into the spotlight. Also, just these small schools to play big schools. Should Amazon focus on the big schools instead? Maybe
the bigger schools that are going somewhere. Because some of these big schools don't have good teams, and if they don't have good teams, there's no reason to focus on them.
That's true. That's fair.
But teams that like Michigan State for League of Legends, where it's like they have the potential and they're rising up to top 10, like those kind of schools.
Yes, and Michigan State is a known name. So.
And it's a known name.
Well, that's a really interesting development coming out of Europe. I'm really excited to see if it does reach American shores eventually. It will be really, really interesting because we know if Amazon is involved, that means Twitch is involved. And from what everything is, all the information out about this story, the Twitch student program is also a part of this partnership. So you can expect to see, any of these games front page on Twitch. Is going to be easy for you to find this stuff. And I think there's a very, very distinct advantage to getting Amazon, first party right there involved in college esports. It's really interesting and exciting. But we're going to take a quick break right now, and we're going to be right back. We're going to be having a special interview coming up from the esports arena out in Las Vegas. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. We'll be right back with more Checkpoint XP on campus.
Superman's dialogue in that whole Justice League movie was that brooding Man of Steel Superman, and then when he goes to fight the bad guy at the end, he goes all Christopher Reeves,
Yeah, well, he's been dead for some years.
Yeah, but then he's all hunky dory.
Like,
hey, what are you doing there, buddy?
It took him a while to get.
Hey,
his
he's trying to
personality
kill
back.
everyone here.
Remember,
What do you think going on? What's going on here?
Remember, he couldn't remember anybody. He didn't remember anything. He didn't know where he was.
But he remembered what he remembered.
So he had a complete attitude adjustment?
Yeah, like once he got his personality and everything back. Yeah, you ever been killed before, Speed?
Many times.
You don't just pop up and be happy.
Many times. I'm a gamer. I've been killed many times, okay? Oh, man.
What's up, guys? I'm Kevin Kelly for Checkpoint XP on campus, and we're here today at the HyperX Esports Arena at the Luxor, Las Vegas for a very special event featuring the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, NASCAR Heat 4, and 3-time NASCAR Rookie of the Year, William Byron. All right, so we're here with William Byron, pro NASCAR driver. We just wrapped up playing a couple games in NASCAR Heat 4. How you doing, man?
Good.
Just getting right into it. Do you think, with NASCAR, jumping both feet first into esports, establishing their own league, do you think that, that'll, allow other esports titles, especially those in racing, the Gran Turismos, the Forzas, do you think, they'll be able to kind of, benefit from that support?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, anytime that, NASCAR puts their name on something, it's definitely becomes a bigger deal. So I think that, seeing how much they've done with iRacing and kind of how much iRacing's, benefited from the coverage that NASCAR has given is really good. And I think it's just going to continue to get better.
Is the NASCAR Heat 5 cover a goal for you in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the NASCAR Heat 3 games, so I think, that was a really cool game to be a part of, and kind of interested to see how the next game turns out.
And you were like the first guy to really make that jump from being extremely proficient in a sport, turning into an esport, making that jump to the real life version. Do you think that other people may follow in your path? You may look at yourself as the guy who opened that door.
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, there's a lot of really good drivers out there that have never gotten the chance to race in real cars, so hopefully they get that opportunity. And, I'd love to see it for sure.
And speaking of guys who get that opportunity, do you think that as far as iRacing goes, do you think that's something, all racers who are trying to aspire to get to that point, do you think it's something they should be spending their time doing?
I love iRacing. I think that, kind of the connection that it has between the sim world and real world, I think is really good. And I'm not sure how you really should get started in racing, whether it's go-karts or quarter midgets or whatnot, but I think that at least that's one way to get started.
Awesome. And you talked about Fortnite a little bit earlier. Is there any other esports that you're keeping your eye on?
I got some buddies that play Fortnite, but I've never really played, so I'll have to defer to them on that. Yeah.
For Checkpoint XP, we're here with William Byron, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. That's going to do it for us here at the HyperX Esports Arena here at the Luxor. We want to thank the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and William Byron for inviting us out here, spending some time playing some NASCAR Heat 4 with us. Me personally, probably going to stick to Mario Kart in the future. But for Checkpoint XP on campus, I've been Kevin, and we'll see you guys next time.
Welcome back to Checkpoint XP on campus, your number one resource for collegiate esports in the world beyond. Your host, Norris Howard here, and we're always talking about the hottest collegiate esports. Y'all already know that, but did you know that we love us some Rocket League? Especially Daniel Agbuya. He's going to give us the lowdown on what's going on collegiate car soccer. So my guy, what is going on with Rocket League?
Hello everyone, it's your friendly driver Danny here, talking to you about the world of Collegiate Rocket League. So just a few days ago, we just had the Collegiate Rocket League Week 1 conference go in full force, and I want to talk about one particular game.
Give it to me.
Yeah, and it's none other than our favorite Tigers, LSU. So we had LSU versus University of Arlington coming out, and let me tell you, it's nothing but sweeps again. So let me talk about game 1 here. LSU had some suffocating offense with their team of Sharp, T-Bates, and Ajax. Now, if that doesn't sound familiar, Ajax has been around in the pro scene. He's a member of Esports United, and let me tell you guys, it's like watching Giannis play both for the NBA and the NCAA. It's just not fair. So from game 1, you saw UTA kind of like put the focus on defending Ajax. Well, that left T-Base and Sharp to just score points upon points upon points on UTA's weak defense. Now, when it came to game 2, though, I will give UTA some credit. They did have some adjustments. They kept the ball to the midfield. They kept the ball in LSU's side. But again, the stellar team play between Sharp and T-Bates, just getting past their defenses, some really clutch passes, just made it a hard game for LSU to really fight the momentum on. And finally, with game 3, Echo Clutch and UTA, they actually were a lot more aggressive this game. But again, T-Bates was actually looking to be the standout player for this particular series, because he was just scoring points, he was scoring passes, and there were some beautiful double touches out near UTA's goalpost. So, one thing I want to say is everyone knew that the deck was stacked against UTA, because LSU's roster is just so dominant.
Well, give me some storylines here. So why is LSU so dominant? Is it just the 3 players are really good, or is it more complex?
I think LSU is really making a push to really show the Collegiate Rocket League scene that they're the best, because one, here's some interesting history here. LSU has a 31-1 record in regular season of College Rocket League, but they have never made land finals. They've always gotten knocked out during elimination. And so
choke artist, question mark?
Yeah. And so I think Ajax is definitely going to be their piece to really push them over the hurdle.
Well, thank you for that update, Daniel. And here's the thing, I looked at LSU and I've been watching them. You guys know I've been watching them for a little bit, and you're right, man. Their offense and their ability to pass the ball, especially up from the midfield, is devastating, and they were able to just shred through that team. And what I'm really impressed by is their ability to really stop when Ajax is double teamed and play through it. So I mean, listen, if you want to see a team completely dismantle another team's game plan, you need to watch LSU just completely dominate UTA. You got to see this match. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm floored every time I see them play. But you're right, they got to get over the hump. They need to bring some silverware back to Louisiana if they want to really be considered the best team in the country. But we're gonna have more coming from Checkpoint XP on campus, where these guys are gonna slide over to 8-Bit, that's UNLV's gamer club, and now official esports club as well. So make sure you guys stick around for that conversation. More coming up on Checkpoint XP on campus. Welcome back to Checkpoint XP on campus, your number one resource for collegiate esports. And Jacob Brothers, our largest galaxy brain, got a chance to slide over to 8-Bit, that's UNLV's gamer club, that's now been officially sanctioned by the university as a esports club. And he got a chance to talk to Tyler Sunizumi of 8-Bit. So here's that conversation, or a little bit of that conversation right now.
What's up, guys? It's your boy here, Jacob Brothers, with Tyler Sunizumi.
Yep.
Let's go. And we are at the 8-Bit First Friday.
Yes, so this is I guess our monthly event where we have like a sort of like a wide variety of games going on. Like today's event is an ARAM tournament for League of Legends. And we normally have this event first Friday of the month.
Right. And so how many tournaments do you do? Like what are some other examples of what you'll be doing?
So other tournaments that we offer here, things from Super Smash Bros, which is a pretty big one. It's probably our biggest. We also do fighting game tournaments for Tekken, Street Fighter, BlazBlue. And, we're trying to expand into other games that are currently on the rise, like Legends of Runeterra. But those are that's our main core games that we got.
What are your thoughts about Mario Kart? Because I come from a competitive Mario Kart background.
Right. So I'm personally a fan of Mario Kart. I've never played it competitive, but it's a game that anybody can pick up and play.
Yeah.
And I think that idea is it's really interesting because I couldn't tell you that most games are like that. And I think that core concept, it could possibly be something that we would explore in the future, but I couldn't tell you for certain.
Well, I can tell you that the competitive scene's nuts.
Oh, I've seen.
It's horrifying.
I've seen some competitive games, and it's interesting. Especially, I only play the game casually, so to see the game played competitively is really different.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you've had a pretty good turnout today.
I'd say so. Yeah. I'm very happy with the turnout because it's a spring semester, and normally spring semesters where we sort of lose a good amount of our members, mostly just because of the nature of spring semester. Mostly, all of our new members and whatnot come from fall because that's when a lot of people transfer into our school.
So does it stay around this amount of people like throughout a semester more or less, or
I'd say this is around like our average amount, which it's good because we want to have the room sort of full, but not
crazy.
Yeah, we
don't want to be able to hear the other people.
Right, and we only have a limited amount of computers for everybody, right? So we want everybody to get their fair chance on a computer and whatnot.
Where are we at with getting the esports area of UNLV recognized on the level that some of the other schools have it?
So I'd say we're progressing through it really fast. Okay. Honestly, last semester our club recently became an official sanctioned sports club.
Right.
So we're recognized by the school, and we're in the same category as lacrosse, hockey, baseball, flag football and stuff like that. And that's a big step for us. Honestly, because that shows that the school recognizes that we exist.
Right.
And that's a pretty big jump. Obviously, we're not to the point of schools like UCI or Harrisburg University that offer varsity programs for their students. And I think that we will get there one day. I honestly could tell you within the next year, I'd like to see us get there. I think it's only fair because in my opinion, our athletes should be treated the same as traditional sports. Obviously it's a different skill set. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be treated as athletes. There's a lot of dedication that our team members put into their craft, and I think it's only fair that they get recognized as such.
Well, if you're being lumped in with the hockey team, that's one of UNLV's best physical sports teams right now. Right. So that's probably some good company to be lumped into when you're trying to convince the school.
Yeah, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of convincing them. You can even see in media today. Yeah. Every school that people recognize, most of them will have a varsity program for esports. And I think it's gonna get to the point where if your university doesn't have a varsity program, that might be the difference in whether or not a student chooses your school or another one in another state. And you become an outlier at that point. It's like, oh well, I chose this university because they have a program and you guys don't. Right. Honestly, I can safely say when I first chose UNLV as my school of choice, it was because 8-Bit was already an official club. And at that time, I could tell you that most universities didn't have that. And I'd say that was a deciding factor for me to choose this school over University of Washington, which is the other school that was my choice. So, I hope that UNLV, helps us and supports us in the future to get us to that point where we can offer a varsity program for incoming students.
Thanks, Tyler and Jacob, for that conversation. If you want to see that interview in its entirety, make sure you go on over to CheckpointXP.com where you can see all of it, as well as the rest of our cool interviews and special segments. And you might even see a little bit of musings and some writings from Jacob Brothers, as well as some of the other cast members here on Checkpoint XP on campus. But we are going to have a special Valentine's Day edition of Mount Rushmore coming up on Checkpoint XP on campus. Make sure you get your dating sims ready and rolling. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Nate, and this is your CSL Power Rankings for the week of February 10th. In Dota 2, familiar faces have filled the top 10 power rankings. Every school currently on the power rankings has been on them at least once before this season. Stony Brook remains in the top slot, maintaining a top 3 position for the entire year. The current top 3 are all undefeated in matches. UIC is the only team who has had a map taken off them in the series. Georgia Tech in 5th place is the only other undefeated team in the league at 9-0 and 18-0. Let's take a look at the rest of the rankings.
Up for a kill on... No, he doesn't get pucked. He's too slippery. Eradicate's in the middle of this. He's getting ignored by everyone. No static storm damage. Off cooldown again. We're going to see if Eradicate can steal the damage they need to win this fight. Targeting Frankie, but Frankie in the air with the Yules, pumping out damage, sets up an ultra kill for Remelia, following it up with the cleanup from Puck.
They just didn't use Doom. Turning our attention over to League of Legends. Harrisburg suffered their first game loss last week against Drexel, but an 11-0 record sets them atop the Northeast 3 and atop the power rankings. Congratulations to the University of Texas at Austin, the only team left in the CSL completely undefeated with an 11-0 match score and a 22-0 game score. After Waterloo's loss this week, they are replaced by SBU. SBU had a fantastic season, going 11-0 overall, losing only one single game all the way back in October. This team is on a massive hot streak heading into the playoffs. Let's take a look at the rest of the rankings.
They want that as much as they can. Ocean Rift, one of my favorites in the game. Just so beautiful to have. We'll get to that in a second here because who, what, where, taking up way too much CC. That's going to be huge that the Glacial Fissure actually does not connect, but Kobe connects well with the Piercing Arrow and makes that one happen. The Ragnarok is down now to try to kill who, what, where as well, and nobody's getting out of this one.
And in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, most matches remain unreported as of this ranking. Robert Morris University, Illinois fall in their last match of the season. They had been undefeated until now. University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign rises up to the 3rd place after defeating former 3rd place holder Robert Morris University, Illinois 2-0 on Saturday. University of British Columbia falls to 5th as Robert Morris University, Illinois takes 4th because of the record difference between the two. Let's take a look at the rest of the rankings.
Somehow through it. He gets traded and ooh, great flash from Tate W. Rascal going down. Only representative here for UCF has only a UMP. Char going huge with an SMG. And 2 players remaining for UCF Knights. They're all going to take this to an 11-3.
That's it for your CSL Power Rankings for the week of February 10th. For more Power Rankings and the most up-to-date Power Rankings, make sure you visit our website over at CheckpointXP.com.
Welcome back to Checkpoint XP on campus, your #1 resource for collegiate esports. And we like to also have a little fun on the set where we're going to play a little game called Mount Rushmore. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Mount Rushmore, the cast will pick 4 characters to go upon the great edifice known as the Mount Rushmore of gaming based on a specific criteria. This week is going to be your top gaming crushes. So, we've also brought in Diane and Ethan to the set so we can fully flesh out our wonderful Mount Rushmore of video game crushes. So, you guys, what senpai do you hope will notice you?
All right, so who do we want to give us chocolates on Valentine's Day? Let's start off with Diane.
Okay, so the super sexy Waluigi. I'm just kidding. So my favorite is Cloud Strife.
Okay. Ooh,
yeah,
I
Final Fantasy.
Dope.
Basically, even though he looks like edgy Ellen DeGeneres, his personality and how he progressed through the game.
His character development.
Yeah, his character development is why I give him my heart.
All right, here. I'll go next. I'm going to throw a curveball on everyone, and I'm going to pick my husbando for this here.
Hey.
So I'm going to go with my main man, Ryu from Street Fighter, but not just any Ryu. I got to go with SF5 Battle Costume Ryu, aka Hot Bearded Ryu.
You mean
because
Daddy?
you take one look at the man, and please show a picture. You see him and you go, you know what? This is a Ryu that will take me hiking, be very supportive, but constantly talk about how beautiful the scenery is. He's a man who, he doesn't like to have drinks in the bar, but will let you have your good time and still make sure you're okay.
And text him when you get home.
And text him when he gets home, yes.
All right. So the correct answer to this entire segment is Aqua from Kingdom Hearts. She is the ultimate waifu. I would trust her with my life. She's one of the only characters in that game that makes sense. She's the only female Kingdom Hearts character to have games based around her.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she is a strong, independent queen, and we stand.
Yeah. And that's your waifu for laifu. But I'm going to throw a major curveball. And just like in Mario Superstar Sluggers, I am going to go with the King Koopa, King Daddy Bowser. And here's why. Because he is not only a king, but he is also, he's a nice guy. When you look, he's a father. He knows how to take care of family. And obviously, he's a family man. So what more do you want? He looks like he'd be nice for long walks on the beach, maybe kidnap a few princesses. It looks like a good time.
What was that last part?
It looks like it'll be a good time.
People have
and
hobbies, okay?
I think that, Bowser, he just wants someone. So I feel like I could be that someone.
He could light the candles with his breath.
Exactly.
Norris, tell us what you think about all this.
I gotta remember to stop inviting Ethan to stuff. But with that said, that's gonna be our show for today. But we want you guys, the viewers, to pick who has the best waifu or husbando. Which one would you pick? Who would go on your personal Mount Rushmore of game crushes? We want to know. So make sure you guys reach out to us on Twitter. Let us know who won and who would you rather see go on a date. And the person who gets the most amount of votes will pick someone at the end of the semester to dress up like their waifu or husbando. So that is gonna be our show for this week. We thank everybody up there at the desk out at UNLV. Thank you so much, guys, for providing another wonderful show, as well as the cast and crew behind them. We also want to thank our producer and editor here, Weird Beard. He does not want me to refer to him as his government name, probably for warrant purposes. Now, we want to hope and demand that you all return for next week's episode of Checkpoint XP on campus. See you later.
Take care of yourselves, guys.
Love you.